Evening folks, welcome back to another Wednesday hobby hangout. And yes, we have started 10 minutes early. And you know what? You know why? Because I'm just kind of sitting here waiting to start now, and that's blooming pointless. There's a bunch of you already in the chat hanging around as well. Everybody else will get here when they get here, isn't it? So yes, Wednesday here again, and a bit more painting tonight. What's everybody up to? We'll see who's in the chat, as there's a nice bunch of you have been in here chatting for quite some time. We had Peter Cooman in, was nice and early. Good evening, Peter, if he's still around. Arnold was in as well, early as well, saying good evening. Six in the head, Palmsy there, saying evening, Legacies. Hope everyone is well. I hope everyone's well too. Arnold said he's nearly done the painting the terrain for. He's nearly done getting the terrain for Warcry prepped for painting tomorrow. Nice one, mate. That terrain's a really nice set from Warcry. Anna was in as well from Red Rose Wargaming, saying that she doubts she'll catch the stream as she's on earlies this week and she's already nodding off. Well, take care, or at least get a cup of coffee anyway. Scott Longworth's in as well. Good evening, Scott. Arnold said he's flagging a bit as well. He's got the grandkids this weekend, so he needs to be on his A game. Looking after small children, I can appreciate you need to be on your A game, mate. Scott said he's been looking forward to this one. Maybe something to do with the fact that we're painting a bit of Infinity tonight. Scott's just also finished a 30-hour shift. I was going to say a 12-hour shift in 30 plus degrees heat in the factory. I don't miss those days, mate. I'll be honest with that. Palmsy's saying there he's not sure he's doing any hobby tonight. He's just got a TV in his place. Hasn't had one for about 3 months, so he's hooked up the PS4. I can't remember the last time I switched my PS4 on, mate. I think I switched it on to download some updates and stuff, and then kind of once by the time it had done, I turned it off again. Who else? Christopher Warden in as well, saying he needs to get his hobby workroom put together soon after moving house. Yes, mate. Once you've got it all set, you feel like you can kind of kick off and get started, don't you? Mark Wright, good evening, everyone, he says. Good evening to you, Mark Wright. How are you doing, mate? Terry saying good evening, one and all. Hope you and all your families are well or on the end if hospitalised. Thank you very much for that, mate. Yeah, my family all very well at the moment. Thanks for asking. And he says, BlackJack Legacy, really appreciate your time, mate, even though we know you're buzzing. Yeah, I enjoy doing this. Let's be honest. It's not like it's a chore to switch on the camera and come and sit with you, like, is it? And who else we got? Blah, blah, blah. Everybody's having a bit of a chat. We've got Marco in as well, so he's trying to rush through the last few work emails and he'll be back as soon as possible. He's got a tainted Grail miniature waiting to get some paint on. Chris Warden saying good afternoon. Peter Cooman saying, yep, he's still around, no work tomorrow. Nice, mate. And Mark Cox in as well, with these lovely new member colours there as well. Evening all, can't stop all evening tonight. Just want to say hi, have a great stream. Thank you very much, mate. Well, I'm planning to stream till about 10:30 tonight, so a little bit earlier finish than normal. For no other reason than the sun is absolutely cracking the pavements out there. It's beautiful. My wife's doing a bit of decorating, so I said I'll knock off about 10:30. We'll have a glass of wine, sit outside, make the most of this nice warm weather we've got. So yes, I'm going to do a couple of hours tonight, bit of painting, and then I'm going to knock off about 10:30. So here we are. This is what I'm going to be painting tonight. So these are me. I've got all of my panel miniatures here, so they're already prepped. If you didn't see, and you basically you can see here how they've all been zenithal primed. If you didn't see how I did these, I did a video basically for airbrushing for beginners, and the idea behind why I do this and also how to do it. So if you haven't seen that, please do check that out. So I did order a load of new paints to be painting these bad boys up. However, they shipped on Monday, but Royal Mail being as it is, it's not arrived yet. So I thought what I'd do is I try and rescue some of my old paints. So what I've been doing this afternoon is I've been thinning them out, the bits of scraps that were left in the bottom of the bottles, and I've been putting them into these little drotter bottles that I bought a long time ago. So whilst that looks like it's full, I think it's just because I shook it up. There's probably about that much left in the. Whoops, where are we? There. There's about that much probably left in the bottom of the pot, and it was a bit thick and gunky and stuff. So I've cleaned them up the best I can. So I've done that with a few of these basically ones that I needed to replace. I've also done it with my Lamia medium as well, which I just find that it's easier to. So when I'm using my wet palette, it's much easier just to put a few drops on rather than messing about. So without further ado, we might as well crack on, eh? So, Scott's saying a fuse layer. Yeah, I just thought I might as well just kind of start with something simple, mate. Not get too carried away. And yeah, and we've also got Stephen Pegg in Says, evening all, apologies for the absence. Don't apologise, mate. I decided to start early. So, yeah, don't worry about that, mate. I'm still kind of like, it's probably only about now I should be kind of getting ready to stream, but I was settled early. The little one's kind of gone to bed at a decent time tonight. He seems absolutely shattered. I've been up with him since 5:30 this morning, so it's already been a long day. Where else we at? Kieran Burns saying, what's happening, funky people? We're getting ready to do a bit of painting, mate. That's what's happening. Kelly Caudle says, I spent about 2 days transferring all my GW paints to dropper bottles. I bought these droppers to do that exact thing, and what happened was I realised afterwards I'd bought the wrong size dropper bottles, and a full pot doesn't just fit into here. So I've been doing it with some of my older stuff that's been lying around for a little while. Let me get my size 2 brush here. Paul Inman saying, effing adverts. There was no advert came on mine when I put it on. I wonder if it's kind of random. Did anybody else get an advert when the stream started? Because like obviously I've switched monetization on, but I don't insert adverts. You can't do that with a live stream. I think YouTube just decides when they're going to put them in. So it's kind of out of my control a little bit. All I can do is turn it off, but until I'm making enough money from Patreon and stuff, unfortunately, that's how I fund the channel, by adverts. Yes, it's another avenue of kind of revenue, if you like. Where else we at? Jamie Newton's in. Good evening, Jamie. How are you doing? Matt saying, woohoo, painting night blackjack as he's painting skinks and chaos marines. Mark says, much prefer the what was that one? Oh, the dropper bottles. Yeah. Yeah, I kind of get used to them, to be fair. Paul says, how's the Deadzone challenge going, Andy? Just asking. It's going all right, mate. I'm probably about a third of the way through my kill team. I've got 4 weeks to finish it off, so yeah, no problem with that one. Where are we at? Paul says the advert started after he started watching. Why would it do that? Yeah, Pomsy saying no ad for him. Kelly says his bottles did look a little small. I've started using more pro or paints. I don't know whether they sent me the wrong ones or I bought the wrong ones, but either way, yeah, I don't have the right ones. But yeah, they're quite handy, but it's a pain in the backside having to try and transfer them. Unless you thin them out enough anyway, they just get clogged up. I've got like little funnel things that I got with them as well. So unless you've transferred them, unless you've thinned them out, they kind of get clogged up. Or maybe it's just because mine have been lying around for a while, so they're gunked up. But either way. So colour-wise, folks, I am just going with the standard colours for my Code 1 stuff. I'm not doing anything too fancy. Obviously, I need to get these painted up to do my my review and stuff like that. So this is kind of work really, as opposed to is personal hobby type stuff. So I need to get them done really. So I'm not going to mess about too much and do anything too fancy with them, as long as they look good on camera. I think that's the main thing. Terry says he got an advert. He always does. Chris had ads. Yeah, it didn't come up on mine, to be fair. Because I always open a screen myself as well, just so I can see what's happening, kind of like live as it's happening, really, to make sure it's working okay. And nothing came from mine. Bobby Clarkson, good evening. He says, who's this dude you're painting? It is a Fusilier for Pan-Oceania for Infinity, or for Infinity Code 1 from the Operation Kaldstrom box. Yes, what are you saying? No advert for here. 5 seconds of the stream and then an advert. Random. James Orm says, greetings all. Happy to be painting. Arnold says, and he still missed the stream. Sorry, Arnold, that was me starting early, mate. Lee says, I may just drink and watch tonight. Yeah, hang out, mate. Just if you're not painting, it means that you'll be good for chatting and stuff as well. So that kind of helps me out as well. Plenty of people chatting. Busy saying the stream started early. I was just kind of sitting, mate. It only started 10 minutes early, to be fair. I've not really done anything other than to say hello to the folks in the chat. I'm just keep glancing over here because I kind of got a picture in front of me just so I can get an idea of where I need to put my colours, really. That seems really thick. It's not much of a point on that. Kelly Colton painting his first Burrows and Badgers minis. Nice one. Tony Booth Leiden's in as well, so it's Tony Howell. Nice to see you, lads. a bit of quality time before PC arrived. Mark's painting Necromunda terrain tonight. Kelly says also began playing Blackstone Fortress solo and really like it. Did you folks see that there's Necromunda solo rules came out? I think it was today, which looks pretty nice of GW to do that. I know it's been a little while, like since lockdown's been on, but it obviously takes a little while to kind of do these things. I suppose it's like we were talking about the other night. Really, I guess it takes them a little bit longer to get everybody to sign off on something new, I suppose. But yeah, bit of solo Necromunda rules. If they're good, it might be enough to get me to unbox my stuff, get them out of the box for a change. Tony's saying, I can't tell which model are from which side in Code 1. Am I being a bit dim? No, mate, I have to keep them in two separate piles for that exact same reason. If I put them together, then I also kind of forget which is which. So I've intentionally kept them separate. Otherwise it can get confusing, mate. So how is everybody doing? Nice to see you all. How's your week going? Here we are, hump day, middle of the week. Hope everybody's not too bad. I was out for a nice walk this morning. Like I say, the sun was cracking the pavement this morning, so I was out for a wander. Brian Martin says, hello all, checking in from work. How you doing, Brian? James says he's told his shop had the Code 1 box. I told my shop to hold me the Code 1 box when they can get them. I'm looking forward to getting it in Infinity. Yeah, I've been reading through the rules for this. So I spent some time yesterday printing off the Code 1, the full Code 1 rulebook, because I discovered yesterday that I can't learn rules trying to read them digitally, like on a screen or like on an iPad or on a laptop or something. I like to be able to kind of flick backwards and forwards and reference things and put like sticky notes stuff into the book and be able to reference things and make notes. So yeah, I think I'll make a video on that at some point, because I don't know why it's took me like it took me to be this age to discover that that's what that I can't seem to learn like that. Sorry, I'm just checking. It's got completely two different like boots on. I was wondering why it looked a bit different. Yeah. So what are you saying? How's the... Peter Cooman says his wife says hello. Hello, buddy. And say hello to Mrs. Cooman. Yeah, we're not doing like knife bombs, you mate, don't worry. Scott says, can beat Yu Jing. I can't beat Yu Jing. Yeah, they're nice models, mate, aren't they? Peter says, oh no, he's late. No, you're fine, mate. We started a little bit early, that was all. I was just hanging around. I'm going to finish a little bit earlier tonight, because I'm going to spend a little bit of time outdoors. Just sit in the garden while the weather's nice with Mrs. Burtis and have a glass of wine later. So yeah, I thought I might as well just crack on when I was ready to go. Peter says just got back from a late walk due to the heat of the day. Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? Nice having a bit of nice weather. Arnold says most channels seem to be sure that Necrons and the King are going to be presented this Saturday. Any last minute ideas on that? I don't know if you saw my live stream on Monday, mate, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that we're going to see 9th edition announced. I had it under good authority that it was either May or June they were going to release 9th edition, but obviously with all of the lockdown stuff going on, basically it's been delayed and stuff, and I think they've been waiting to reopen their sort of delivery services to get that announcement out. So yeah, I think we'll see that on Saturday. But I'll be tuning in to find out, like everybody else. I'll be tuning in to find out. So yeah, should be good to get some information. Kelly says he's got a work meeting in 27 minutes. We'll have to go. Hate late meetings. Yeah, I don't miss work meetings like that, mate. It's quite freeing now. My wife's been on calls all day today with customers and stuff like that, and internal meetings and stuff. And yeah, I don't miss any of that stuff. It's quite nice being able to be your own boss. So yeah, I'm enjoying working for myself at the moment. I assume I will continue to enjoy working for myself. But yeah, it's obviously apart from this lockdown stuff, which is making things a little bit more difficult with getting getting the supplies of stuff and getting time kind of on my own to film as much stuff as I'd like to. Other than that stuff, it could be a lot worse. I've got to keep reminding myself that when I'm feeling a bit down in the dumps about being stuck at home and having nowhere to go really. It's easy to kind of get sidetracked. And as this week is Mental Health Awareness Week, I could do a lot worse than just remind myself that things could be a lot worse, and I'm in a very fortunate position because it does get you down from time to time. John Francis in saying, "Evening all, hope everybody is keeping well." Hello John, how are you doing, mate? I watched back the stream I did with Rob Oren from Monday, just to kind of see how it was and stuff. Yeah, I noticed you were in the chat, mate, popping up a few comments. I didn't see a lot of the chat from my end. Obviously, Rob was streaming on, I think he was streaming on Board Game Geek, he was streaming on Twitch, and he was streaming on YouTube all at the same time. So I think that he was kind of cherry picking the comments, so I didn't get to see everybody's. I saw Tony Booth Lydens as well. I think Krabby Vision was giving me a little bit of grief for being a Sunderland fan, so I'll forgive him that. But yeah, I quite enjoyed being on the stream. I've got a few subscribers out of it. I think I'm like 67 subscribers away from 8,000. So if there's anybody in the chat tonight who isn't subscribed, I'd love it if you could. Scott's saying, what's the best colour to use for rat skin? Isn't there a rat skin colour? I forget what it's called now. But I guess it just depends on what colour you want to paint them, mate, to be fair. I think I did mine like a Bugman's Glow, and then washed them over, and then almost like a human skin, but keeping it a bit darker. Yeah, Bugman's Glow. I've just noticed you mentioned there, mate. Yeah, try that one, mate. Peter says he doesn't tend to get a tan this year. I got a little bit of a kind of a tan a couple of weeks ago when we had a few nice days. My head was getting a little bit burned, but when I went out for my walk this morning, I put my cap on just to stop my head burning. Busey, sorry, saying, did you get your new paint? No, mate, it didn't arrive. So what I am waiting for, I got one of the white contrast paint, which I wanted to try, which is why I'm painting this one first, to be fair. So for these models with the big cloaks, I wanted to try using the white contrast paint on there, and I got like some light greys, like Celestra grey, and there's another grey as well. That's quite a light one that I wanted to kind of paint them and then wash them with that. So that's why I'm starting with a Fusilier really, just so I can start with this. And I got like some like Valhalla and Blizzard as well, the snow stuff that I really like for the bases. Who else we got in here? Duffy Mikowski saying, greetings from Levertown. Nice to see you, mate. How are you doing? Scott says, Red and White Army. Yes, I've been a Sunderland fan all my life, mate. For better, for worse, what can you do? I was born in Sunderland. You support your team, don't you? No matter how awful they are. But have you been watching the Sunderland Till I Die on Netflix? I've been enjoying that actually. I've been gripped by that second season. Even though obviously I knew how the season ended and stuff. It's really fascinating to kind of see that behind the scenes and see a little bit of what actually goes on in real life, like in the workings of a football club. And I also found out as well that the guy that is the managing director of Sunderland is an ex-boyfriend of my sister's. So there you go. The things you find out watching the TV. Except when he was seeing my sister many years ago, he wasn't managing director. He was Samson the cat. He was the guy inside the mascot's costume. So yeah, funny how things turn out, isn't it? What we're going to do now? Let's get some of this kind of sandy. So we're going to use a little bit of Zandri dust. Oh, that looks really yellow on that screen there. Oh, that's kind of better. It seemed to go a little bit off. I think the white balance seems to move a little bit with this. Kelly said it was very British weather outside, 60 degrees Fahrenheit and raining. I'll tell you what, mate. I think we've got a little bit of Florida at the minute. Then I think it's definitely a bit nicer for us at the moment. And I ain't used to it. I ain't used to a bit of sunshine, which is why I'm knocking off a little bit earlier. Mox has got a busy few weeks ahead. Dreadball, Star Saga, and The Walking Dead. I tell you what, Mark, you've embraced tabletop gaming, haven't you? You've dug straight into it, mate. It's the kind of thing that I would do as well. You've just got to be careful you don't get sidetracked and get put off by it all, really. But yeah, so you're bought into some nice stuff there, mate. You'll have hours of fun both playing and painting that stuff. Where are we? 6 in the head. You're only 170,000 views away from 1 million views. I know it's kind of it's creeping up, isn't it? 1 million views. Who'd have thought that? There's certain numbers that just feel kind of like unbelievable when you say them out loud. Like sort of Monday's live stream. If you add up like the amount of time that everybody that was watching it watched it for by the end of the stream. So this is not counting anybody that's watched it since then. It was like 10 days worth of content being viewed. And those kind of weird numbers and that kind of weird stats, they always kind of like blow me away. I always think like, wow, who the hell's watching all that stuff? But yeah, I think when I get to 1 million views, that'll be quite a nice little thing. I've got 1 or 2 videos that are over 60,000 views now, and I'd quite like my first kind of 100,000 view video. That would be nice, and it'll happen eventually. But just because over time, some of them older ones keep getting watched, the more popular ones, things like my gaming table and the Warcry one, the Warcry terrain one, they seem to get watched quite often. They're still amongst my most watched videos on a daily basis. So yeah, I'm sure one of those two will hit 100,000 at some point. That'd be nice. But yeah, it doesn't really mean anything. It's not like I suddenly kind of unlock like a load of earning potential or anything like that, or I suddenly it changes how YouTube sort of speak to me or anything like that. The only thing I'm really looking forward to is when I hit 10,000 subscribers, I can link my my Teespring store to my videos. So you'll see in Uncle Adam's videos and stuff, he advertises these T-shirts underneath his video content, and that you can only do that once you hit 10,000 subscribers. You need 10,000 subscribers to unlock that. So yeah, it'd be nice when I hit 10,000 subs, and that's the point where people like Games Workshop will kind of entertain you for sending review copy things out and that. So that'll be a nice little bonus, but yeah, it doesn't change a great deal of things really. The big thing for me is just the fact that it's moving forward, and that's the nice bit. So and my OCD likes round numbers, so when I hit 8,000, it'll be a nice little kind of mini celebration really. That's all. But yeah, 1 million views, eh? I used to worry about the numbers and stuff, but these days I think I just let them take care of themselves. I can't influence it. I can't make people watch my videos. I can't make people subscribe. All I can do is just keep creating stuff and having a good time, and hopefully that's enough to keep people involved. So let's just get into the kneecap a little bit there. I'll tell you what, the detail on these things are fantastic, really. They're a joy to paint, because actually they're so detailed that your brush almost just kind of follows the sculpts of the model sometimes. Tony says, kicking yourself for missing out on the TT deal on Star Saga. Yeah, I didn't buy it either, mate, to be fair. 6 in the head says, try to watch a few extra vids this week, see if I can get you there, mate. Well, now you've got your TV, mate, you can get it linked to the TV and just put it on one of my playlists overnight. Peter says, UBS has seen his Dreadball be delivered today or tomorrow. Nice one, mate. Krabby Vision's in. Evening, fella. How you doing? How did what's it called? How did your meeting go for your new job? He's saying, lovely head shining this evening, mate. Yeah, I shaved my hair, mate, the other night, and it's a bit warm as well. I think that's probably what's helping it. Busey says he's running out of army paint white. Do you think the Zenithal highlight will work okay with Korax white? Absolutely fine, mate. Yeah. As long as you thin it down, it'll be fine. Peter saying, is that the paint set exclusive miniature? No, it's not, mate. This is just the this is one of the Fusiliers from the Pano side of the two armies. Luke7920 says, hi, first time BlackJack Legacy viewer here. Hello, Luke. How are you doing? Thank you very much for joining. I hope you enjoy being here tonight. We're just kind of chilling out. Consider yourself amongst friends. If you're painting anything, let me know what you're painting. If you're just kind of hanging out for a little while, then feel free to just kind of hang out. If you have a good time, I'd love it if you'd consider subscribing, mate. So thank you very much. Six in the Head says the fan sound of my PS4 is actually drowning out any sound coming from the TV. I tell you what, mate. Normally, when your PS4 is doing that, it's ready to get the vents all cleaned out. Get a Hoover and just hoover the vents out, because that's what causes that stuff. Everyone's saying hello to Luke. Krabby saying evening, all good, mate. Standard awkwardness, but other than that, all good. Yeah, I think that's the case, mate. In it, first time, kind of like oh, I don't know anybody, that kind of stuff. Tim Kelly's in. Nice to see you, fella. How are you doing? He's working on his Maison Labs tonight for Deadzone. For those that didn't see, I've posted in the community tab of YouTube. I've also posted in the Facebook group. I've also posted it in the Patreon chat. If anybody wants the if anybody wants the Star Saga, the Warpath Universe source book, which is basically all the background lore and stuff for games like Deadzone and Star Saga and Warpath, it's normally £15 for the digital book. I've got a code that will get you the free copy of that. So if you do want that, please just check out the Facebook group, check out the community tab. All of the information's in there. A link to the book and the code that you need to enter. Six in the Head saying, I don't own a Hoover, mate. I'm not a millionaire. Robert Fallonson's in, mate. Hello. He says, so Infinity title. Thought you'd come and see what's up. I'm just starting to paint through my Code 1 stuff, mate. Getting some of these bad boys painted up, and I'm still waiting for a few paints to be delivered. So I'm kind of picking and choosing what I'm painting tonight, really. Where are we at? Daniel is in as well. Nice to see you, Daniel Engel, my friend. Working on Rocket Raccoon tonight. Major pain in the ass. Robert says, I know you've been doing Deadzone, but have you had a chance to look through the Code 1 rules? Sorry if this has been answered. It hasn't been answered, mate, but I tell you what, I went to the trouble yesterday of printing off, that's a bit big on your screen, but printing the whole thing off, because I realised that I think I was getting frustrated with the Code 1 rules, and half the thing was I think I was getting frustrated with trying to read them like on a screen or on a laptop or on my computer or on my phone or my wife's iPad or whatever. So I printed them all off, mate. I went and bought some printer paper and printed them all off. And yeah, I've read through them now, mate. It's not as confusing as I initially thought. The basic rules are pretty straightforward. I think it could have been written a lot better. But I'm going to do a full review of it, of the Code 1 rules and stuff. So I don't want to go into too much detail now, mate. But yeah, I think it could have been a lot more streamlined, the rule book, because I think the basic rules they get repeated. That's the problem. It's they keep saying the same thing, and things are in the wrong order for me personally. As somebody coming in who knows nothing about it really, there's too much repetition of stuff that doesn't need to be there, and there's too much jumping around. Like they talk about some things before they've discussed other stuff that you need to know first. But yeah, I'll come on to all that in my review, mate, when it's been because that's the kind of review where I'll write a script for it, so that I say all of the things that I want to say, and it doesn't just sound like I'm rambling. So, where are we at? Terry saying hi to Luke as well. Cheers for the Deadzone book, mate. That's good book. Good, yeah. It's when Rob gave me the code for it, I thought I'd download it myself first and have a quick look, because I thought I don't really want to promote stuff that I don't like. I don't believe in myself, if you like. It's not like I'm kind of making any money or anything out of it. It's not like I'm getting paid to promote their stuff or anything. So if I thought it was kind of garbage or whatever, I think I would have. It's not that I wouldn't have shared it, but I would have. I might not have been so enthusiastic about it. Let's put it that way. But no, it's a good book actually. So it's good that we're getting some free stuff. So if anybody's on the fence about Deadzone and stuff like that, that source book just gives you that little bit more background information, really. Peter says he thinks he'll do the troops for the challenge. The guards are practice. much needed, by the way. Yeah, I tell you what, I feel like because I'm forcing myself to pick up the brushes, partially because now this is my job and I need to paint some things to get them on the channel, and partially because by doing these Wednesday night hobbies, these hobby hangouts, I actually feel like I'm motivating myself to get stuff done, which is really nice as well. So it's a huge motivation to me too. Scott said, just really haven't taken a before picture of his Veerman. I tell you what, mate, I think you took a picture of the box when it arrived anyway, so I will cut you some slack. I know you didn't have them beforehand. Don't worry about that. To be honest, I mean, the folks in this group and stuff like that, in the Patreon chat and the folks in the BlackJack Legacy group, yeah, I'm not too worried about it. It was just we had a huge influx of people coming over from the Deadzone fanatics, and I just wanted it to be fair. I didn't want a load of the people that are already playing the game to just kind of throw pictures in of stuff they've had painted for years, just to try and win a £25 voucher. You know, it's meant to be a bit of fun, really. So that's why I said, can you show me before and after pics? That's all, just to try and keep it fair, really. So, where are we at? Pomsey saying doesn't own Deadzone yet, but there's loads of good background in the world that'll feed into his dread ball somewhat. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's just nice to have something to read as well, mate, isn't it? But I'm starting to realise digital books are not for me. I think I struggle to. Maybe I just haven't got the right device to read them on. So I tend to read, very rarely, to be fair. But I tend to read just sitting having a cup of coffee or something, and I don't know if it's just because I spend so much time on screens and stuff like that actually it's nice to read something like a hard copy, if you like a proper book. So somebody sent me a rule book for review for a new game that's coming out called Brutality, a skirmish game, basically like a miniature agnostic game. So he sent me that through, and the art and stuff looks absolutely beautiful. So I'll have to kind of spend a bit of time with that. However, I do struggle to read it kind of on my laptop or something like that. There's something about reading when it's not. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. Rob says, fair enough about the rules. I can tell you're a 5-year veteran of the game. Code 1 is way better written than it was before. Wow, mate. It's not. Do you know what it is? It's not that it's badly written. There's just so much repetition, and the order things isn't great. And however, what I would say is the fact they've put some diagrams in with clear explanations, and in this instance this is possible, in this instance this is not possible. I think that's really good. But yeah, just needs a little bit of kind of stuff. Needs a little bit. It could have been almost half as thick, I think, that rule book, which would have made it a much easier entry point. Luke Pryor's in as well. He's saying only room for one Luke. Rob's saying as well, to be fair, they already did some rule changes to the rule book anyways. That was to Daniel. Is there not a book included in the Code 1 set? So, mate, don't think of the Code 1 set as Code 1, right? So in Code 1, you get this, which is the Operation Kaldstrom introductory booklet. And this basically takes you through a lot of background stuff. It gives you some lists and stuff like that. It gives you some missions. It takes you through the basic rules. However, it's not the full Code 1 rules. That is available as a free digital download on the website. So that was a little bit of a shame, but at the end of the day, it's free. I ain't going to complain about it if it's free, really. So, but I then had to go and buy printer paper and print it out and put it into a folder, because I need to flick backwards and forwards. I need to reference stuff when it's rules. I can probably get away with reading like a novel, I suppose. But yeah, when it comes to like a rule book, I need to be able to reference stuff. I need to be able to flick backwards and forwards. So I think that's what I'll be doing, printing other stuff off. Where are we at? Pomsy saying you prefer a physical book, only just came to that conclusion fairly recently. Yeah, do you know what it is, mate? I think I did as well, and I think I've come to it like this week, really. I've been a big advocate of digital rules. However, if they're not absolutely sort of straightforward, I tend to struggle, because I like to be able to flick back and reference something. So if something comes up in a rule and I think I've read something about that, I like to be able to flick back to the page and go, oh yeah, that references that. That's what that means, kind of thing. And in Code 1 specifically, there's a lot of there's a lot of references to other pages. So I just think that a physical booklet will be better. And they are releasing this as a softback book actually in the future, which you can purchase. So that will be an option in the future. It's just not an option at the moment. And now I've printed it all off, I probably won't buy that. I probably won't buy that book now. I wish they'd released it as a purchase option. Yeah, Matt. Thank you very much, Matt, for that donation, mate. He says I can't read anything on screen. Love the smell and feel of a book. I was starting to think I was just becoming like a grumpy old bugger, basically, like kids in the technology kind of thing. But I've always been a big advocate of stuff. I love technology. I love kind of sort of keeping up to date with the latest stuff. But with this, I think I've come to that conclusion that when it comes to rule books, anything that's a bit more like reference material, yeah, it needs to be kind of it needs to be a physical book for me, I think, or at least a printed document. And I think I noticed when I was doing this stuff for what's it called again, for Elia Chronicles, when he sent me the stuff, he sent everything as digital kind of books and scenarios and stuff. And the first thing I did, because it was a game I couldn't watch online to see how to play, because it's not available yet. It's just on Kickstarter at the moment, and it's doing very well as well. So if anybody wants to check that out, Elia Chronicles from the makers of the Drowned Earth, from Olmec Games, please do go and check that out. I can heartily recommend it. Because I had nothing to reference, I needed to just print them off and print it out, and put little highlighter marks and stuff like that against stuff, just so I could read it and reference things. So Anna's saying Andy the Luddite. I didn't think I was until I come to that. Scott's saying it actually plays great. Yeah, I'm hoping it does, mate. I mean, the basic game I understand. I've always, whenever I've tried the Infinity kind of the quick start stuff, I always find it pretty straightforward. It's not difficult to pick up. It's just that in the past, the leap from the quick start stuff into N3 is just like climbing a mountain. It's there's no kind of middle ground for it, and that's the bit that's always kind of caused me some issue in the past. But and that's why I thought Code 1 might be just the thing to get me into this. It might be the perfect scale for me in that, but I was a little bit put off when I first saw those rules. However, I've persevered with it. I was determined to kind of give it a fair crack of the whip. So yeah, but I'll put my thoughts together in a video probably in the next week, and then follow that up with some more content once I get these bad boys painted up. Mark Wright says he's been looking at getting an airbrush. Seen a couple online for under 100 quid, looking for advice. What I would say to you, mate, is you do not need to spend a fortune. I would advise you to get a compressor which has a tank attached. The reason for that is, if it doesn't have a tank, the compressor basically just runs non-stop to try and basically build up the pressure. It just continues running all the time, and that's not particularly very good for the motor itself to be just continuously running. If you get one with a tank, it basically runs to build up pressure in the tank, and then it stops. And that little break, just to give it a chance to cool down, if you like, is just enough to give it a little bit more longevity. However, the airbrush set that I've got was just from Amazon. It was nothing particularly flash. It came with a tank. It came with an airbrush. It came with the hoses. So I'll see if I can tomorrow, mate. I'll see if I can dig out a link to the one I got. Yeah, I think pretty much it doesn't matter how much you spend, everybody seems to get that. If the compressor says 186 somewhere on it, they're pretty much, they're all made in the same Chinese factory, I think, and everybody else puts their own labels on them. Krabby Vision says, speaking of books, was just checking to see if GW site was working. It is no 8th edition rulebook available. Ooh, interesting, mate. Daniel says, okay, at least there's something in there in print. Yeah, I know what you mean. I do enjoy something just to actually get out of the box and read. Six in the Head says, oh yeah, I remember your chat on digital rules not too long ago. That was good. I still think that digital rules have their place, and I think once you understand the game, I think digital rules have their place, basically, because there's a lot of advantages to them. However, I think to actually learn the rules from scratch, I just find, I just find being able to flick backwards and forwards and reference them much easier. Pomsy, saying there's vids on YouTube showing that a cheap airbrush sets are perfectly okay made for basic jobs. To be honest, they're okay for more sort of technical jobs as well. It's the size of the needle, really. Like the finer the finer the needle, the more sort of detail you can get, really. Terry saying, I find a highlighter pen really useful for referencing back to sections. Yeah, I mean, you can see here, mate, I've been like a proper old-fashioned bloke here. I've been putting my post-it notes on the inside, so I know exactly what certain pages I want to reference and things. Oh, excuse me. Tim says, can always sell a hardback rulebook? Can't with digital. I know I'm tight. Robert says, I too like hard copies, but Corvus Belly is known to do patches to rules outside of an FAQ. As long as it's free, I personally don't mind. Yeah, I'm okay with that as well, mate, to be absolutely fair. I'm okay with that. Krabby saying, I love a book. Just think in the current climate, we need an option for an updatable app or rules checker type thing. I don't think GW will embrace that. They've never been a big fan of that kind of stuff. I mean, what I would say for Code 1 is, like, to coincide with its launch, Corvus Belly have released like an army builder for it, and the army builder app is free, and it's really, really good. It works like a dream, to be fair. So, yeah, props to them for that. Busey saying, rule books on paper, I agree, easy to flip back the pages. Yeah, Anna there saying, Andy the Luddite. Definitely. You can tell I was born in the 70s. John says, I see some digital rule books on my iPad because the font in some books is really small, especially tables and stats. So it does help. I think that is a really good shout, mate, to be fair. Probably something I've not really referenced, the fact that you can zoom in and see stuff. But I don't know what it is. Actually, I'm going to use a smaller brush. I just find it a bit difficult to. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just. If it's just. Maybe I just feel slightly in a different kind of mental state when I'm reading a screen versus reading a book or something. So yeah, who knows? Who knows? Anyway, so we'll get some skin tone on this now. So I'm coming in with some Bugman's Glow. So like a darker skin tone, really, just to give me a base colour for it. I've probably thinned it a little much there, actually, but one thing I would say is with these Infinity Minis, the detail is so nice. It almost forces you to thin your paints out, because you want to make sure you do a good job of them. Like, so even though I'm not planning to kind of go overboard with these. To be honest, what I'll probably do is I'll probably be painting them up on Saturday, watching the GW announcements. But I feel like it's kind of, they're so nicely sculpted. I mean, let me just, you can kind of see the detail on these here. They're so nicely sculpted, it kind of just forces you to want to take your time and not rush them. But yeah, I'm enjoying them though. Nice change of pace, something a bit different. Where are we at? Matt's saying to Mark, under £100 fine for a starter airbrush. Yeah, sets are perfectly okay for basic jobs. Yeah, I'd agree, mate. 6 in the Head. Do what Busey does and sell illegal PDF scans. John Fan says, having said that, I'm a sucker for a leather-bound deluxe edition. I don't think I've ever been kind of in love with a game enough that's made me want to kind of invest in those really expensive kind of fancy sets. Maybe one day I will, but I think I've never really been like into the lore of stuff that much. I'm starting to as I get a bit deeper into the hobby now. I think like in the past when I've been like mega busy with work and stuff, I've focused my hobby around kind of splitting my time between painting and playing, and the actual lore and the background's taken like a huge backseat really. It's never been a big driver for me, where now it's kind of like now it's my job, and I kind of see learning more about the worlds for these games almost as something that I should do. I'm actually really enjoying it. It's I feel like in order to, because I'm making more content, I need to have more knowledge, if you like. So I need to be able to kind of to engage a wider sort of spectrum of people, whether they're painters, whether they're gamers, whether they're just into the lore of stuff. So I'm kind of forcing myself to do some of the stuff that previously, not because I didn't enjoy it, but just because I kind of pick and choose where I spent my time. And it's kind of opening my eyes, really. It's what prompted a lot of the conversation from Monday as well about 40k as well, was the fact that in the past I pushed 40k to one side because it was like it's not my bag. I haven't got time to play everything. I might as well focus on the things that I find easy to get my head into. But now I've got time on my hands, and 40k is a huge game. I just feel like I need to know more about it, or I want to know more about it. I at least want to kind of come from a point of knowledge and experience to say, actually, I was right the first time. It's not the right game for me, but because I've tried it, basically. Where are we at? Pomsy saying, Busey saying 6 in the head zine is okay on digital, but even then I would prefer it on paper. We'll have to get some new ink cartridges. Do you know what it is, mate? Something I was printing off. I forget what it was now, and I needed some I needed some inks. It was something I had to print. I forget now, but I got some really, really cheap ink cartridges from Amazon, and I got like my print is one of those that's got like 5 or 6 cartridges in it, different colours, and I got like 3 or 4 sets of that for about like 15 quid, and honestly the quality's fantastic. It really is nice. It's not like some kind of like crappy sort of print quality or anything like that. So I've been really pleased with that. So now I bought like a ream of 500 sheets of paper, and I've got like a load of ink. So I thought, like, bollocks to it. I'm going to print everything off rather than trying to kind of suffer it. And then that's really what's kind of prompted this. So because I've printed them off, I find I'm whizzing through these rule books now instead of struggling. So that's why I think I've just suddenly come to that kind of realization, is that I just need to read them in print. Peter says, oh, Kelly's just off to work, so see you later. Thank you very much, Kelly. Thanks for dropping in. Peter says, Andy, I just found the free Necromunda solo rules. Took a while. It's almost like they didn't want to give them away. 6 in the head said, I'd love to do physicals, but it's printing and mailing costs. Oh, I can imagine, mate. Maybe when you're on to about issue 10 or something like that, and you're a big printing hotshot, and the NME's coming around seeing if you want to publish it with them. You can do some collaboration between tabletop wargaming and the NME. Then we'll all get a subscription for printed copies. But now it's I don't know what it is, mate. I actually didn't. I think it was, this is going to sound stupid now, but I think it's because you had loads of pictures that I actually. It was like a nice break of reading it, and I just had it on my phone. So, but again, I think it's more the fact that that I'm not trying to reference something. I'm just reading it. It's like reading it. It's like I don't mind reading the news on my phone. God, I am starting to sound like a right grumpy old bugger now, aren't I? Proper Luddite, as Anna said. 6 in the head. The finer the needle, the sweeter the juice. You are not wrong, my friend. Crowley saying he does the post-it note thing. Do you know what it is, mate? I've got like these little fancy kind of like coloured, like fluorescent, like little tabs to put on the tops of the pages and stuff like that I normally use, but I can't find them at the minute. Andrew Fairback says, hello mate, how you doing? He said, you review Code 1 already? Not yet, mate. I'm going to review it, but I want to get these painted up. I want to do some stuff on the... Rather than just kind of showing, like, the miniatures just in the box, kind of, like, unbuilt and all that kind of stuff. There's been plenty of channels have reviewed their copies of Code 1 and stuff. I thought, rather than... I can't be first. Everybody else has already got there. So I might as well at least do a quality job of it and just take a bit of time, paint them up, and kind of, like, sort of... like pull my thoughts together, because I think a lot of people have reviewed it almost like, or not even reviewed it. They've essentially unboxed it and like said, "Oh, here it is," like it's straight out the box. Or people they haven't reviewed the Code 1 rules. They've reviewed the quick start rules that came out kind of before that. So I still think there's a bit of a gap for me to get in there and do some stuff. And I'm sure like people in our community might want to hear what I think about it, really. So it's still worth me kind of doing that, even though I didn't get this until late. So if I can't be first, I might as well just try and do a better job of it rather than just doing it for the early views, if you like. So, but I've been doing a bit of shopping. Well, no, I haven't actually bought anything, but I've been doing a bit of window shopping online today, looking at some technical stuff for the channel, some equipment that I think might come in handy. So yeah, it's all go at the minute. Plenty of stuff happening. Like I said before, basically, I was all set to be going full time in September, really. So when the redundancy thing came up and it kicked me into full time earlier, I'm a little bit behind the curve, really. So I'm playing catch up a little bit with my plans and things, because obviously I was saving up money to be able to buy a few bits that I needed to get the channel underway, really. Well, not to get the channel underway, obviously I've been doing it for a while, but like things I wanted to enable me to make certain content either faster or better. And obviously I haven't got any redundancy money or anything like that yet, so it's not like I've got a pot of cash that I can spend it on. I can go and spend, if you like. So I'm saving up what Patreons have given me and what's in my savings pot, really, and getting ready to buy them few bits and pieces, which I'm looking forward to. That'll help with a few bits of stuff that I want. Where are we at? Right, Anna's seen got both a physical and digital copy of the Burrows and Badgers rulebook. Sometimes it's just easy to control elf. I completely agree, and I think I would love it if you bought a physical version, if you got the digital version for free, because I think I want to learn the rules from the book, but I think once I know, once I'm actually playing the game and I understand the basics, if there's something crops up, Control F is like, you know, that's how to find it, because not all books have a really good reference. An index. Not all books have a really good like kind of what's the word? You have a reference and you have like a reference section and an index section. Not all books are good enough like that, really. Scott said he wanted the bases in another Convicts team and the Renton's reject, so it was cheaper to pick up another copy than buying them individually. Yeah. Luke says, are the GW announcement just for 40k or AOS 2? They're just for 40k this weekend, mate. I think if you'd seen the previous sort of reveals that they've been doing, there were a lot more AOS, like not AOS light, but they were a lot more AOS focused, because it was almost like they had something to talk about for 40k, but they weren't ready to talk about it yet. So I think that if you look back, other than mentioning a little bit about Psychic Awakenings, there was very little 40k content in those last three reveals. So the rumours are, my friend, is that this weekend is when they announce 9th edition. So I think we're expecting to see something pretty meaty from GW this Saturday. In saying that, maybe it's another red paint and handle, Palmsy. Who knows, mate? Who knows? But we'll know soon enough. Paul saying, law is king. Without law, without those amazing stories and settings, games are just maths. The law is the mask that hides the maths. It's the proverbial spoonful of sugar. I've never been a big kind of law reader, to be fair, in the past. So I like, whilst I don't disagree with you, I do think I do think the difference between a good, like, sort of a good game and a great game tends to be the background stories. It's not something I've massively getting involved in. I think when I started playing Warcry, that was the first game that made me want to kind of understand more about it for quite some time. And then when the Kings of War version 3 3rd edition book came out, like reading through that as well, that kind of got me intrigued in it. So it's not that I've kind of changed my opinion. It's not like I thought that like lore was kind of like a waste of time or anything like that. But I just prioritized painting and playing. I only had so much time in between kind of work and family time, doing the YouTube channel. I just kind of prioritized my painting and my playing, really. That was all it was. That was where I got the enjoyment from, really. But yeah, now I've got a bit more time on my hands. It's nice to get into the background of some of this stuff now. So I started with a Macragge blue, was for the base colour. I've now come in with a Calgar blue, and I'm just kind of lightening up the blue bits now. So you can see kind of on the top of the beret, starting to highlight up the trousers and things. Rob says, as long as you give a fair reason for not liking something, it's fine to not like something. If it doesn't gel, it doesn't. I tried Warcry and it wasn't for me. Your hobby, your fun. To be honest, mate, I please don't get the wrong impression. I think I'm going to enjoy it. And my review will be largely positive, mate, because I just have some constructive kind of criticism, I think, about how it could have been a whole lot easier, and how I think it could have been a lot less confusing for new players. And like you say, you've kind of got years of experience of Infinity, so a lot of the things they're talking about, probably just you're like almost skimming over them, like, oh yeah, I know that bit, I understand that, or I can see that bit's changed from N3 to what will eventually be N4. So I think you're maybe just coming at it from a different viewpoint, and that's fine as well. The difference for me is that I am doing this absolutely from scratch as somebody that doesn't really understand Infinity rules, but does have a good knowledge of wargaming in general, and I can see lots of observations of where it could have just been made so much easier. Doesn't make it a bad game, and I'm sure I'm going to love it. Because actually, after printing it off, I actually feel like I can understand it now, where before it was like trying to read a legal document. So yeah, so don't get me wrong, mate. The review won't be. I won't be basically bashing the game. I'm actually pretty impressed with it. It's just, like I say, it could have been so much more simple. Beauty saying, don't get me started on the ink cartridge scam. Pomsy saying, Beauty told me you can't print black nowadays unless you've got a colour cartridge as well. Do you know what it is, mate? My printer has 2 black cartridges in, and it won't print black unless I've got both black cartridges in randomly. And Pomsy, yeah, Busey is saying, I've got a full black, but it won't let me print because the cyan is low. Yeah, that's how they get you, mate, don't you? It's a con. I just jumped ahead there. Tony says, I bet your printer nags you for using third-party inks. Mine does. No, it doesn't, mate, actually. It's I tell you what does nag me, my camera. I've got a third-party, like, you know, like a dummy power supply. So instead of putting the battery in my camera, it's like a dummy battery on a power lead. So basically when I'm doing live streams and stuff like that, it's not like running the battery down. And every time I turn my camera on, it says, does your battery have the official Canon logo on it? You have to press no. It's not recommended to use this. Do you still want to use this? Yes. And I have to do that every time the power's been off to my camera, which is a right pain. But no, my printer, I think now they've got like chips on them as well. It's almost like they've managed to hack the chips on the cartridges so that the printer doesn't even realise that they're not real ones anymore now, I think. Luke's saying, I tried doing a digital thing, I just can't do it for rule books. I tried with Marvel Comics and I thought that would work, but it still didn't. But like a novel on Kindle is fine. I haven't got a Kindle, mate, and I've been dead tempted to pick one up, purely just to get reading more, because I feel like I don't read enough stuff, and it would be a nice kind of sort of change of pace from constantly like looking at a screen all the time, and especially seems I spend a lot of time like sort of streaming and all that kind of stuff, which is like facing a screen, facing a camera, facing like bright lights on me a lot of the time. It would be nice to just to kind of switch off and maybe read a book now and again. So yeah, maybe I need to invest. Maybe I'll wait for Black Friday deals to come around or something like that. Invest in a Kindle. Because I've got loads. Like I've got all, like I think I've got all of the Horus Heresy novels for Kindle, which I got on like a Humble Bundle offer thing ages ago, and they're just sitting on my computer a minute because I can't read them on my computer. Well, I could, but I just don't want to. So yeah, maybe a Kindle's not a bad shout, mate. Where are we at? Peter says not even proper black, even when black's new. Krabby's got them colour tabs as well. Tony says I quite like reading comics on his iPad. Got The Walking Dead and the Humble Bundle a couple of weeks ago, so I catch up with the end. I've got a lot of the Hellboy comics on digital version, and I still went and bought the library edition just because I found it was just easier to read, mate. But yeah, maybe I'm just older and maybe I'm a bit more stuck in my ways than I realised I was. I'll tell you what I'm going to do, folks. Because the mini's quite small here, I'm just going to zoom in a little bit further, and I'll try and keep it on camera for you. There we go. Let me just get that focused. It doesn't like that, does it? It doesn't like that. There we go. Krabby says, what stuff do you need? Your setup is pretty spot on at the minute. So mate, what I need, or what I always planned to get, was more cameras, mate. So because I do this on my own, when it comes to things like unboxings, or when it comes to doing like reviews, or doing any gameplay stuff, one thing that keeps people watching is multiple camera angles and switching around. And what I used to do in the past was I had like a webcam. I've got obviously these two cameras which go in through capture cards into my PC. I had a couple of webcams, but basically what happens is, because this is a Canon DSLR, the one above me here, the painting one, is a Panasonic camcorder. The webcams were just kind of cheap C920s. The Logitech things. Every time I switched between cameras, it gave like a slightly different quality picture, or a different brightness, a different white balance, that kind of stuff. So I always had an idea of actually getting like getting more cameras, but like sort of half decent quality ones. But then obviously when you've got more cameras, you need to be able to handle more camera inputs into the PC. And there's a new piece of equipment that's come out recently, which isn't actually too expensive for what it is. And it basically handles 4 HDMI inputs into it, and then basically gives it like a USB signal out to the PC. So basically it's like you can switch between 4 different HDMI cameras and basically like run it as a webcam, basically, essentially. So yeah, so I've been looking at that today, and what it means is a bit more, I guess, like how Beasts of War do their stuff. Because what I found is, in order to try and be more efficient, I need to try and do as much stuff as I can, like on the fly. So what I used to do in the past was I would set up the cameras, and I would record onto each memory card for each camera, and I'd move the camera and record the next bit. And then what I need to do is download all of the footage and put it into my computer and reorder the footage and sync it all up and do multi-camera shots and things. And it looks great, but it's really time consuming to film, and it's really time consuming to edit. So the plan with this stuff is essentially, it's like doing a live stream. So whenever I record anything, I just do it, I edit it as I'm recording and as I'm playing. So then when I come to put it into my PC, all I'm doing is I'm just cutting out the little gaps where I'm basically switching between cameras and stuff, and it just speeds the whole process up, mate. So, and also it means if I've got multiple cameras, I can focus on different things. So I can have a face shot, I can have a downward shot, I can have a shot at a bit of an angle, I can have a shot like of another player, if you like, or something like that. So it just gives me more options in the future. So that was always the plan, buddy. That was always the plan. But I've been looking for a cost-effective way to do it, because there's always been ways to do it, but they're an absolute fortune. But there's a new piece of kit out now that's is a pretty affordable price considering what it does. Because I mean, like, the capture cards I've got for these cameras, I think were like 150 quid each. So like multi-camera stuff is not cheap. And then you've obviously got to buy cameras as well. So anyway, Pomsy saying, what do you use your Zoom recorder for, mate? I want to buy one, but don't know why. So I use it when I'm doing anything that I record as a proper video. I plug my microphone into my Zoom recorder, and then from the headphone socket in the Zoom recorder, I plug it into the PC, and then I record everything. And then what happens is that basically the output from that syncs up with my video and stuff, and then I basically take the memory card out of the Zoom, because the audio quality into the Zoom is much better, and then I basically sync it up with the output so it matches the video, and then I delete the audio from the original video. So what happens is I get a much better quality audio. But yeah, it's to be honest, since I've started recording in here, and since I spent some money getting like the studio thing set up with like soundproofing over there and things, and I put curtains up to deaden the sound, and I've put like a mat down on my table to deaden that, so it's not like onto a wooden desk, all that kind of stuff, mate. Like since I've done that, it's less noticeable, I would say, but it just gives you a cleaner and crisper sound, really. I use it for recording podcasts and stuff as well, because it can take like 4 different audio inputs and separate them into 4 different audio channels. So then after I've recorded the podcast, I can balance the levels of the sound against each other, basically. I'm still getting used to it, to be fair. The All Points is in. Nice to see you, mate. How are you doing? This is all right, Baldy. Hang on while I find the brightness button. I think that's just because I've just had a haircut, mate. You cheeky beggar. How are you doing, mate? Anyway, nice to see you in. Nice to see you in, fella. Right, I think that's the blues kind of highlighted up. We'll get a bit more in the sandy colours now. So we've got a bit of Carrick Stone I'm going to highlight onto the trousers. Luke Pryor says he doesn't gravitate... Oh, sorry, Krabby... sorry, Peter Cooman says, I checked today, the red paint handles are out of stock now. Maybe your fault like the Deadzone starter. Krabby says, I've been listening to 40k Law stuff whilst hobbying lately. Some of it is pretty epic. I wouldn't disagree with you, mate. I think it is pretty epic, but I think you've got to be kind of in the mood. It ends up just being pretty much... Like if I put it on while I'm painting, it seems to fade into the background, and I'm not really listening to the story so much. And I think that's the problem. I think because I downloaded some stuff through my Audible subscription to kind of get that kind of stuff, so I could listen to it. But yeah, I think I need to be listening to it, really. It's all right in the car and that, I think. Luke says, I don't gravitate to the law. That's why I enjoy miniature agnostic games. I do love 40k law, though. I wish there was a better IP games that got me into them, because I love the law, like Aliens, etc. I must admit, one of the things that really attracts me to Infinity is the law. I actually think they've done a fantastic job of building the background for that game. And I love that kind of manga kind of aesthetic anyway. Peter says the 40k laws what first got him into the hobby. I think it got a lot of people in mid, didn't it? There's quite a few who say that they've come in like through the stories and stuff. Palmsy's listening to Horus Heresy at the minute. Vaughnwood, nice to see you, mate. He says that to be honest, the only reason I enjoy 40k Universe is the background lore. I haven't played since 2nd edition. Where was that again? That's just jumped over the top of my screen. Wow, that's a bit. That's jumped ahead quite a bit. Let's have a bit of a catch up. Rob's saying there, fair points. Yeah, like legal document. There's a lot of very technical terms in there, mate, and you have to go back and read them again to make sure that they're not trying to catch you out. Tony Tiger's in. Hello, mate. He says after watching Red Rose Warcry battle reports, he's finally opened the starter box. Until last week, it was an unwanted Christmas present. Nice to see you dove in, mate. Vaughnwood's listening to Gorn's Ghosts. Robert Marshall says, good evening, all these t-shirts finally moved from printing to shipped. Nice one, mate. Good to hear. Tim Kelly says, Horse Rising was a slog I found. I've read it twice, I think, because I read it once, And then years later, I decided I wanted to read the second one, and I went back and read the first one again. And I must admit, the first chapter, I struggled with both times I read it. And I think it's because it introduces so many characters with quite sort of quite fantastical names that just it took a little bit of getting my head around, I think. Like it's not like it's kind of like names that you recognise quite easily, if you like, if you're not into the 40k lore. And I think that just kind of it took me out of it a little bit. So yeah, but it's a great story, mind. I mean, I enjoyed it once I got into it, but I must admit I had to kind of fight through it to get my head around who everybody was and stuff. Where are we at? Barry Kleiber says, howdy all, just got done training for an intern later today, Infinity Night, way cool, yes mate. Palmsy said he's read 5 or 6 chapters already on Kindle. Anna says, I reckon Andy's printing out copies of Six in the Head and trying to outmuscle the Newcastle biggest shoe sellers. If it wasn't for a lockdown, Anna, that might be a nice little side hustle. Daniel Engels is just checking his Code 1 bundle finally shipped. Nice one, mate. Busey says his printer cartridges have chips on them, tells the printer it's empty. So yeah, even shaking them doesn't help. Yeah, it's not like batteries where you can kind of take them out and give them a rub and put them back in, is it? James Zorm says library editions of Hellboy are fantastic. Yeah. And Terry's saying if a printers are printing black, they also have a bit of small amount of colour which you can't see, but your bank balance can. Yes, exactly, mate. Where are we at? Yeah, All Points is saying, yeah, Atom Mini, mate. Yeah, that's the one, fella. I was quite impressed with that because the Atom Mini Pro, you don't even need a PC to stream with that one. You can stream straight from it, but I don't really want the Pro one. I don't think I'd get the benefit from it. So I'm just going to go with the Mini, mate, I think. Problem is everywhere's out of stock now because of lockdown. Everybody's decided they want to be a streamer, and anything that's related to camera equipment, like capture cards, cameras, webcams, everything's either out of stock or like they ain't no offers on it, to be fair. Yeah, Anna's saying, yeah, All Points got one on order there. Yeah, Anna's saying, sounds great. What's it called? Jamie's just saying there, 299 quid. Yeah, it's not bad, mate, is it? I don't think it's bad for the. And he's saying, yeah, the Pro. I think the Pro version's about 600 quid, something like that. But I don't think I need the extra stuff that it gives. You can also control it as well. I've got a Stream Deck here as well, and you can control it through the software for the Stream Deck as well. So it means I'm kind of used to that stuff. Jimmy's saying use Zoom with his Sony, and it doesn't have a mic input. So I clamp the recorder at the camera and have a mic on it. Yeah, and also to be fair, my camera has got. So if you're just recording straight to camera, the audio processor in the camera tends not to be very good, which is why I bought it originally. And then actually the sound on my camera has gone a bit funny. It'll only record in the left audio channel now. So even more reason why I kind of replaced it. But if I'm doing something through the PC, if I'm doing like multi-camera stuff, it's less noticeable so much really. VJ's in as well, says morning folks, hello fella. Jonathan Elgie's in as well, it says evening folks. Mark says if you have an iPad, Andy, you can download the Kindle app. I think the problem is, mate, I think it's the brightness of the screen. Because my wife's got an iPad that I kind of sometimes use, and I don't know if it's just the brightness of the screen. I think that's why I'd quite fancy just like a Paperwhite Kindle or something like that, I think. Where are we at? Jump ahead a little bit. Krabby says all these noobs jumping on the streaming ban. I don't mean so much that, mate. I mean, I think that basically everybody's working from home and stuff at the minute, and they're all kind of using webcams, and they're all using even dudes on TV are all kind of like trying to find a way to do their interviews on TV and stuff like that. So it's like camera equipment and streaming equipment is all in massive kind of like is all under, what's the word I'm looking for, like under demand at the minute. So there ain't no sales on stuff or anything like that, and anything that they do have is quite hard to get your hands on. So yeah, I've got one in my basket, Jamie. Basically, I almost ordered it before I came on the stream tonight, but I think it said that they're going to be back in stock on the 25th of this month. So I was going to pre-order one as well. But yeah, nice bit of kit, mate. I was quite impressed. VJ says, I have all the video hardware streaming stuff, just need the time and motivation and set it up and start streaming. I actually quite enjoy it, mate, to be honest. Like the technical side of things is as much of a hobby for me as the hobby itself is as well. And it's part of what I love about doing the YouTube stuff, is that like I get to do all of that kind of like tech stuff as well. So it's a nice little thing to do. Right, let's get a little bit of a lighter grey, I think. We'll try and lighten up his coat and stuff now. We're talking Frankie Goes to Hollywood for some reason. Yeah, everybody having a bit. What's that? Tony says, still getting the Humble Bundle or something. The Negan backstory. Ah, nice one. If you've got Amazon Prime, there was a load of stuff free on the Prime magazine stuff. There was quite a lot of stuff was free on it, I think, recently. If you've done that. Scott said he's decided to do the bases on his plagues in the end. Do a bit of Deadzone, mate. Cracking on with that. How's you, Jamie, anyway, mate? Haven't spoken to you in a little while. How are you keeping? What are you up to these days? You're normally travelling all over the world with your job, mate, so it must be quite nice to, or maybe it's not, to be at home for a little bit. How's the board game business going as well? Is that all right? Right, so we're just going to... Actually, I'm going to use a smaller brush again, I think. VJ says he's been doing live video and motion graphics for a living for so many years, and doing it as a hobby for free, even for himself, it just feels wrong. I think there's a lot of people kind of like do that. There's a fine balance, isn't there? Kind of like hobby versus kind of your job and stuff like that. And I think that's why I think when it comes to this kind of stuff, that's really bright, that on the screen. Is that a bit bright on the screen for you folks, the actual model against that? Or is it okay? Because it looks like it's maybe a little bit bright on mine. I don't know if it's because I've got a darker background tonight. I don't know if that's what's causing a bit of problem. Tim says you can turn the brightness down on an iPad, helps me read in bed. Yeah, I don't know what it is, mate. I don't know what it is. Probably the fact that my missus always has the iPad anyway. She watches some kind of TV shows or whatever when she's dozing off. So it means I have to buy an iPad. It's probably cheaper to buy a Kindle. Because I've got a MacBook as well, one of the 12-inch MacBooks, which is kind of like a fancy iPad anyway, to be fair. And I used that for ages to kind of like basically do all the stuff that I would have normally done on an iPad, just with a bit more flexibility. So I had that. So I never really bought an iPad for that reason. But I must admit, I do use my missus' iPad because I use it for my auto, like my teleprompter type thing. So I made like a homemade teleprompter, and it uses an app on the iPad that's basically voice activated. So as I read my script out, it kind of understands my voice and it scrolls up automatically. So yeah, so I do use my missus' one for that. Mike G saying hi, all a bit late. Been doing some running around today. Hope you're okay, mate. Nice to see you in. Peter says he's not painting tonight, but he's put some intercessors together earlier for his Dark Angels. Nice, mate. Dark Angels on the table. I do like Dark Angel green, I must admit. Excuse me. Right, so I was going to use the white contrast paint on the jacket. However, it hasn't come. So I'm kind of wondering what to do. Do I just crack on? Or do I wait for it to come and try and do something with it? I'm going to make a little, lighten up a little bit of white with the grey, I think, just to try and highlight that grey a little bit further. Jimmy says he's good. Board games are selling well in lockdown. He's missing his AOS tournaments. Earlier in the year, I snagged the 4th place at the Throne of Skulls and missed the podium by 1 victory point. Oh man, nice going though. What were you playing, mate? What faction were you playing to snatch your 4th place? Building and painting the backlog. There's always a backlog, mate, isn't there? We've all got a backlog. Tim says grey paint with loads of contrast medium. Yeah, I had thought that, mate. Maybe I haven't got any contrast medium, to be fair. I have got. I've got what's it called? Larmium medium. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mix a little bit of grey with a bit of white. on my homemade wet palette here, and just try lightening it up a little bit. Cities of Sigmar, nice choice, mate. Something you don't hear very often. And how's the Twitch going as well, mate? I saw you've been doing some Twitch stuff. I did check out one of your quiz things that you were doing after the event. Anyway, I didn't realise you'd done it until after I saw it the next day, I think. But it was nice to see that, mate. How's the Twitch stuff going? Right, folks. I don't know what. I think it's because I've got a black piece of card down here tonight, but it seems to be losing the. Like if I do that, it seems to kind of come a bit. I'll tell you what I'm going to do, folks. Give me 1 second. I'm going to grab a piece of white paper, and I'm going to put the white paper behind it and see if that helps. And then I will know for future. Isn't it amazing the difference there? I mean, that looks really dark now. I thought it was showing up too bright on the camera before. Now it looks really dark. I tell you what, it's because I think my white balance was fixed to this. We'll just crack on. I can't be bothered to start messing about now. I'm sure nobody's tuning in really just to see how I paint stuff. But if anybody has any questions, I'm sure I can talk you through it. No, Jamie, no, it's not on auto white balance, mate. I think I'd set the white balance to white, mate. I've got like a white balance card, like a grey card, so it was set to that. I think it's maybe the just the lighting and stuff in here, mate. This is all the stuff that I have to still keep learning, and that I'm all right with the kit, but when it actually comes to the technical aspects of doing it all, it's all still an uphill struggle. And the problem is how it looks on my monitors. Yeah, Peter said it looks better with my hand behind it. Yeah, if I do that. It's weird how they put. I'll tell you what. Let's try something else. Let's try this. Is that which is better? Yeah, bollocks. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll zoom out again a little bit. I don't know if it's since I zoomed in. It seemed to. That'll do. Actually, I'll tell you what I will do. I've got a light here. Let's brighten that up. Let's see what that's like. Let's try turning that one off. I don't know if I normally have that one on for my That'll do. It's as good as it's going to get without me fanning on too much, folks. Yeah, it's a bit better. I mean, the skin's quite dark at the minute, to be fair. Right. So yeah, I'm just kind of layering on. I've got like some white that I've mixed with the last highlight of the grey there. The last grey was like an old Citadel foundation paint called Astronomic and Grey. So yeah, I'm just kind of like layering it on a little bit. I've mixed that a little bit just to try and brighten up the highlights a bit. The problem is if I do it like this now, then that white contrast paint is going to be a waste of time when it comes later this week, because I'll have to do them all the same way now. But at least by doing these on camera, I've got like a method to go back and follow the rest. Mark Coley said he just got off the sun lounger, taking advantage of the sunshine, had a great barbie with the family, just what the doctor ordered. Yeah, to be honest, mate, very nice by the way. I've just said I'm only streaming until 10:30 tonight, because I'm going to go and try and make the most of some nice weather. Even though it'll be dark, it'll still be warm, so I'm going to go and sit outside with my wife, have a glass of wine, and just chill. So that's my plan. A couple of hours streaming tonight. If I can get this model, I mean, I won't get it completely finished because I'm waiting for the Valhalla and Blizzard stuff, to be fair. Where at? 6 in the head. I've got the Vallejo retarder medium. I've got no idea how to use it. Do you know what it is, mate? I'm not much of a painter in general, and I tend to not really worry about stuff too much. However, I have been kind of, like, I've been trying a few bits and things out. Like, so for example, the water I've got, so I bought myself like some of these little water bottle things just for help for cleaning out my airbrush and stuff like that. And I've put a drop of washing up liquid into the water as well as a bit of a flow improver, just to see what that does. Just trying to do different things, really, just to try and see if anything improves my painting, really, because I'm not looking to kind of get amazing or anything like that. I'm looking to try and kind of find things that's maybe a couple of shortcuts, things that might help me. So what I'm doing now, folks, is I'm just taking some Airbrush Earthshade wash, and I'm just kind of pin washing it into some of the joins in the clothing and stuff, like the seams and things, just to try and give me a little bit of shade, a little bit of delineation really between the panels, just to help with some of this, really. Luke said he's got the hot wire table out tonight. What are you building, Luke? Be good to know, mate. Pomsy saying, do you want to try the wet palette in the fridge technique this year? Wet palette in the fridge? Wet palette in the fridge? I have never heard of that, mate. I assume that's just to keep it cold, isn't it? I have been tempted to pick up a proper wet palette, actually. I mean, I'm still using the one that I mean, you can see here, basically, if I put it down. This is just still the kind of like the cheap sandwich tub thing. This is the lid off the sandwich tub that I've been using for years really. And it's always worked for me, to be fair. So I've never felt the need to go and buy a proper wet palette, but yeah, I might do sometime just to have an opinion on if they're actually worth spending the extra money on them, really. Jimmy's saying the retarder mediums just makes the paint dry slower, good for blending. Yeah, blending's not something I've done a lot of. I did a little bit of blending when I was painting the dinosaurs a few weeks ago for Elia Chronicles, just because I just thought, why not? I'll give it a try. I've never really done anything like that before. So yeah, right. Do I want to? I think what I'll do is I'll get the null oil out and try and pick out some of the stuff for that. Redwell's in as well, says good day all. Hello Redwell. Luke's saying he's making a Star Wars Legion Endor bunker. Nice, mate. Look forward to seeing that one then. Mike G, I have no experience with Witchbone the game, my friend. Somebody else here might have. Pomsy saying he's got a homemade wet palette, but he's looking at the Redgrass one. They look slick. Yeah, I've heard good things about the Redgrass ones and the Army Painter ones, to be fair. But my gut feeling is they're not really any different to the ones you make at home. They're just they might be a bit bigger, or they like a bit more pro. I think like the Redgrass one comes like with like magnets and stuff on the side where you can attach like little mixing palettes and stuff like that. So I think it's probably more. It's just a bit more pro looking, I suppose. Doesn't look like you've kind of turned up with your sandwiches. Jonathan said he got the Redgrass games where palette. I find if you go back to the paint, it's so watery you have to top it up again. Read it's the rubber gasket that's the issue. Yeah, I think sometimes what can happen as well is if you're in a relatively kind of humid place or a hot place, it creates condensation if the seal is too tight. So what happens is it creates condensation inside, and then the condensation basically waters down your paint further. So I've heard that basically by not sealing it properly, sometimes that can actually help, believe it or not. Right, let's just get a little bit in here. A little bit in the fingers there, just to try and pick those out. And I think we'll get a little bit of the Nuln oil into here as well, just to pick out some of the armour panels. Where are we at? Most commercial paint suggests about 20 degrees C, max 30 odd. 6 in the head says turn up with your sandwiches. Yeah, it's I guess sometimes half the thing in this hobby is people like to feel, they want to feel like they look the part, and that's why people like to have fancy bags for carrying their minis and fancy dice boxes and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure half the time it's just all the gear, no idea, I think, in it sometimes. So, well, I don't think this is coming too bad, folks. Let me just get on there. I don't think that's looking too bad. I've still got to do the goggles. I've got to like lighten the skin up a little bit on the face, but I'm not too upset with how that's looking. VJ had his first crack at his NFL Prime the other day, managed to stuff it up using white ink and it reactivated. Yeah, I saw that, mate. I've never used inks to airbrush before. To be fair, I've never used inks to paint either, really. So I wasn't familiar with that. I didn't realise that was a thing. Where are we at? VJ's saying as well, drop a retarder works great if you don't use a wet palette. Yeah, it's quite warm in here tonight, to be fair, as well. It's not, doesn't normally get too hot in here. But tonight, Matthew, it is a little bit on the warm side. And then I think the whole world's having a bit of time outside. The red handle becoming a meme. That's it, mate. You started it now. You've created that beast. Right. How are we doing for time? Yeah, another half an hour or so. So when you're saying inks are great for making washes, for pin washing and black lining. Yeah, Peter saying, yeah, whole world outside except for us lazy buggers. And Kieran says, sorry, it's beer time. Yeah, we're having a quiet one tonight, mate, but boys, but it's all right. I don't mind a quiet one. I've got to paint these models anyway. I might as well hang out with you a lot as well and paint. Right, how to do the goggles. I think what I'll do, have I got the contrast that I want to use? I think what I might do is I might do like a much lighter blue, I think. We'll do something in there, I think. Sodded beer time while stuff dries. Yeah, I don't blame you, fella. I don't blame you. You know what I've just noticed? That super chat thing has not updated. Even after Matt did that earlier on. I wonder why it didn't update. Didn't even come up on the screen, has it? I'll tell you what, I'm going to switch to the main screen. And then I'm going to switch back to the painting screen. And I thought it might have reset it a little bit. For whatever reason, it's having a moment tonight. VJ says, was a good lesson. Really excited about something, having to kick you in the balls, but getting back up again. Yeah, sometimes, mate, you've just got to take them ones in your stride, haven't you? Sometimes you've just got to say, well, it is what it is. You learn more from mistakes sometimes, don't you? Right, a bit of water. I think you could send them an email, mate, and see if they're going to do that red grass handle in red. It is red. Maybe they just got. Maybe that's why it's called the red grass. Maybe it's going to be the black grass next time. All right, let's get some light blue into the goggles. Pick that out while the wash is drying. Get that there. Now this is going to look a bit garish at first, folks, so just give it a chance to see how it is when it's finished. Looks like something off Tron now. But yeah, what I'll do is I'll wash that down with like a blue wash or something like that once that dries. Right, I need a small dry brush, I think. We're going to pick out a little bit of silver. Well, Casper's in as well. Hello, Casper. It says, don't make my red grass mistake. I bought the big one. The blue one can hardly fit on my painting spot. Do you know what it is, mate? That's one of the things that I do like about just using my little kind of Tupperware lid thing, is that it fits perfect. Like, when I've got, like, I'll have to get a picture of this. I've basically got stuff scattered all over this table. And this table's 6 foot wide, to be fair. But it all needs to be kind of in reaching distance of when I'm where I'm sort of streaming and stuff like that. So, right, we'll get a little bit of, what's this called again? Necron compound. Get a little bit of that on a dry brush. We're just going to pick out some of it on the weapon. Just to pick out over the top of that black contrast paint that I put on before. Just to pick that out. We'll put a little bit on the lapels on the shoulders as well. A little bit on the holster where the gun is. That looks all right. Coffee from a mug, whiskey from the bottle. I like that, mate. Barry says, sometimes you learn more from mistakes. So true. You definitely do, mate. If you happen to get something right the first time, it's more by, it tends to be more by good luck than good planning. So you definitely learn more by ballsing it up sometimes. Right, we've now got a bit of Mephiston red. I'm going to just pick out a few little bits of areas on here, because I always think the red against the blue always looks really nice. So we'll pick them out. Look at me using size 0 brushes tonight. Normally it's a size 2 and I just slap it on. Steve says, thank you for inspiring me to crack out the Gold Grunters again and give them their final coat. Hopefully 2,000 points in quarantine painted after that. Awesome, mate. Daniel says, did someone say whiskey? Don't tempt me, mate. Don't tempt me, because at the minute I've got a pint of water here. I'm just drinking water. And as you all know, there's 2 bottles of whiskey behind me on the shelf. But no, I'm going to have a nice sociable glass of wine with my wife. If it gets a bit chilly, we've got the little log burner thing outside, where it's called like a wood burner cage type thing. It sounds more glamorous than it is. It's basically a metal box. But yeah, we're just going to have a bit of a chill night, I think. She's been dead busy at work. I've been streaming a lot, and we've been passing the little one between us during the day, trying to both do a bit of work. Where are we at? Paul says, even sat around a campfire, I have a good grace to decant the water of life into a hip flask before. Yes, mate. You're a gentleman, that's why. Busey says, the army painted wet palette has red detail, that's why I ordered it. Yoakum's in as well. Hello, Yoakum. It's been fun listening, fun as usual listening to you. Got to go and pick up my teenager who's hanging out late. Good night, folks. Good night, Yoakum. Thank you for coming in, my friend. Fire Pit Daniel, that's what I was trying to think of, mate. Peter Coombs says, I'm struggling today. Need to get a new brush. Bristles are everywhere. Yeah, mate. Kieran saying, burn your 8th edition rule book. I think it would be nice to actually read it, mate, before I even open it. Before I decide to burn it. Right, what do I want to do now? I think I need to paint his hair. How do I want to do his hair? Do I want to make it a bit lighter? Do I think? The problem when I do hair is I'm always worried it ends up just looking really, really kind of fake. I wonder if I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to use some of the Zandri dust on the back of his hair, and then I'm going to wash it down, just to try and dull it against the trousers a little bit, rather than doing it black. Doing black hair is always kind of like the cop out, isn't it? So got a bit of a strap around the back of his helmet there as well. Painting on stream is actually helping me with the painting, because I would normally kind of just go like get it really close for this detail stuff, but it's actually kind of keeping me, get my elbows on the table, kind of lock myself in, and just do it properly, basically. So yeah, it's not bad at all. That'll do, man. That'll do. Good morning, Adam Edgar. How are you doing, mate? How is the future? How is the future, rather? Where are we at? Peter says, whiskey tastes better after a beer. Why is that? Probably because it's not so sharp, I suppose. Where are we at? What was I just reading there? Something I read. I forget now. 6 in the head. Keep your elbows off the table. You should keep your elbows on the table when you're painting. It's about kind of like locking in together, isn't it? So if you can keep your elbows, so it kind of, that's why I like these red grass handles. So I can kind of hold onto that. I can rest my hand against it for stability, lock my elbows into the table, and it just keeps everything steady. John saying, as someone else follically challenged, I struggle with hair. I just don't get it. Maybe I'm just not used to dealing with it, mate. That's what it is. Adam says you should use a spray stick, Andy. Oh yes, mate. Spray sticks all around. So yeah, I'm just going to wash a bit of Agrax over that hair just to dull it down a little bit, and just kind of control that in. I'll tell you what, folks, I'm not too upset with how this is looking. You've got enough hair for the whole street. I like that, mate. I'll have to dig out some pictures of me when I had a full head of hair. It wasn't that long ago either, to be fair. Mine just started to look a bit thin and I just shaved it off. And I was half tempted to kind of grow it back a little bit with the lockdown. And then I thought, who am I kidding? Ain't kidding nobody that you've got hair these days, mate. So I'm just getting the white now, just trying to highlight like a really kind of thin down white. Just trying to pick up some high spots on the back of the gloves and on the elbows and stuff. Maybe around the collar. Peter saying red hand paint handle, it'll never catch on. Oh, I tell you what, Palmsy, you got a lot to answer for that red paint handle, mate. It's going to be one of those kind of bollocks. It was a bit watery and it kind of ran into the gaps there. I'll have to pull that out with a brush. I cooked that up, didn't I? Let's get a brush in there. I think we'll have to get a bit of blue back in there now. It just seemed to run everywhere. We'll just put that back in. Where are we at? Kind of zoned out there for a second. BCC, I'm just trying to remember who kicked off the whole spray stick red paint handle thing the other night. God, I can't even remember now. Tony said he's blushing using mine. Yeah. So then, folks, who's watching the GW reveal on Saturday? Then is there anybody having a bit of a painting party while you kind of listen to what they're going to talk about? I think I might sit and get my paints out and pop it on the screen and see what the latest news is, and then watch all the channels do their instant reaction videos, trying to dive onto the news. So yeah, right. I think that blue's dry enough. I can get a wash in there now. Peter saying, what time is the reveal? 2 o'clock UK time, mate. I think. Pretty sure it was 2 o'clock. Adam says, is painting party like a Tupperware party? Bloody hell, mate, you can tell you're a child of the 70s. Tupperware parties. Bloody hell, mate, be keys in a bowl soon. Peter says, okay, so 3. Where are you, Peter? I don't know why, but I think I assumed you were local, mate. I must be completely wrong. Thordlim's in as well. More like an up-a-dare party. Yeah, we'll see we'll see what comes from that, eh? Belgium. Ah, that's right, mate. Yes, you are. Of course you are. Right, so what I've done there, folks, I've put a bit of Drakenhof Nightshade wash into the kind of like the goggles, the lenses. Just trying to kind of tone down that bright blue. And then I think what I'll do is I'll let that dry. Luke said it's like an Ann Summers party with all that new plastic on show. I like that, mate. Yes. I'll tell you what, there'll be a few people getting a bit excited as well. And to be honest, it was like an Ann Summers party when they announced those painting handles from what everybody called them. Daniel says he never understood Tupperware parties. Do you know what it is? I remember my mum going to Tupperware parties when I was a kid. Like, we always had like load of like sandwich tubs and stuff like that. I don't know if it was just like, was it just an excuse to get together or something? Like, I have no idea why it was such a popular thing back in the day. Look at me highlighting dots on the legs. You think I didn't have something better to do with my time? Well, so I'll wait for that skin to dry and we'll highlight the skin up a little bit. Adam says, you obviously don't like storing food then. No, mate. I don't like storing it. I like eating it before it goes off. That's not too bad. That's good enough. Good enough, he says. Right, I think I'm going to paint. We'll go with a grey base and dry brush it up because it's going to have snow on it anyway. So I just need to kind of lighten it up, really. In fact, what I'll do is I'll go with a grey contrast and then lighten it up from there, I think. Peter says, fun fact, the Tupperware factory is about 10 kilometres from here. One of the gaming group works there. You get a pot every time we go to play in his place. Terry saying, where is the GW reveal? It's on Twitch, mate. So they have their reveals on Twitch. And there's always a link to it from their websites and stuff like that. Yeah. But what I'll do, mate, is when they announce kind of stuff, when they share links, I'll pop some links up in the Facebook group and stuff as well for those that are in there, and those that are in the Patreon as well. If anybody wants to kind of hang out and have a bit of a chat in the Patreon while we're watching it together, we can do that as well. That would be cool. That would be nice. It'd be poor quality with no back job. You know what, mate? I bet it's not. It would not surprise me if it's back from GW, from Warhammer World, from headquarters again this time. It wouldn't surprise me if that's the case. Because it just feels this one's a bit more like they've got something to talk about. But we'll see. We'll see. I'll tell you what, Palmsy, if it's a new painting handle, I owe you a beer. Because it would, it would be bloody funny if it was. Right. Trying my best now to try and just put a little bit of wash around the edge of the goggles there. Just to darken them down. Well, I think we're almost there, folks. We're almost there. Steve says, any thoughts on 9th edition Codex approach? I think we'll find that nothing much is going to change, mate, to be fair. I think it's just going to be a bit of an update. I can't imagine it's going to be a massive big overhaul. They seem to have kind of come to grips now, I think, with 40k, and I think the fact that they've got the chapter approved stuff every year, I think that's how they're running it now. So I can't imagine it's going to be hugely different. But I think these kind of like little reboots, if you like, this new edition is basically enough to It's enough to kind of kick off maybe a new sort of turn in the storylines. Maybe it kicks off maybe like some new models, might even be a new army or something like that as well at the same time. But it basically it's almost the reboot point. I think they're conscious that basically if you're new to the game, when a game's been going for like 5-6 years and it's had loads of bits of optional expansions and all that kind of stuff, I think it's quite daunting to get into for new players. So I think part of what they do is almost just to kind of ease that entry point for folks. So sometimes it's just that kind of like that reset point to get new folks into it and stuff, and it gives them an opportunity to like, update the rule book with all of the FAQs. It also gives them an opportunity to sell some new rule books, some new starter sets, something to talk about. So yeah, I think it's largely I think this time we'll see very little change, to be honest, but I'm hugely interested to see what they do, and no doubt the community will be chomping at the bit to see exactly what's going to be announced on Saturday. I think we'll see some big numbers of people viewing that one. Steve saying, yeah, much of a muchness, maybe a narrative roll on. Yeah. Peter Cummins, all this 40k talk had me looking at Dreadnoughts earlier. Must be clear the browser history before she sees it. It's coming to something when you got to clear your browser history from that stuff, mate. VG said I'll probably stay up for the announcements, as I think Tabletop Millions of regulars is around the same time or just after. So what time will that be for you then, mate? Is that kind of like late night, is it for you? So, well, yeah. Let's see what they have to say. Right, I'm getting towards as much as I can do now, really. The basing material I'm waiting for, which is I really like the GW Valhalla Blizzard Snow. I think it just works really well. I do have other stuff that I've used as well. Now, I'm using other stuff on my dwarfs for Kings of War because I thought it was going to be bloody expensive to try and do all of that basing in that stuff. But yeah, I think it looks nice on these smaller minis. Adam says if it's 2 PM UK, it'll be 11 PM in Oz. Wowzers, mate. I always forget just kind of how big those differences are. I mean, I know we're kind of like other side of the world and all that, but yeah, I still kind of just forget how different it is. So it must be crack of dawn for you boys over there, is it? Yep. Yeah, it's hugely appreciated, folks. I mean, I know everybody takes time out of their day to come and kind of watch my stuff and join in with the community and that, but with you lads, it's proper commitment when it's silly o'clock in the morning. I appreciate that, folks. It's the opposite season in Oz. Yeah, I guess it's your winter, is it? Adam says 7:14 currently. Wow. So you're off to work soon, mate. Yeah, VG. I thought that was always the case, but I don't think I always really thought just kind of how early it was. I don't know why. Obvious, really, but yeah. Well, what do you think, folks? There we go. I need to highlight the skin up, but I'm happy enough with that. Tabletop, as they say. Yeah, to watch any stream. Yeah, we got Noxie as well. He gets up like funny times of the day and night as well, doesn't he? He does a lot of stuff for Wargamer Girl, like moderates her streams and things. He does a lot for her, and I think he's up at like daft o'clock and stuff. Scott says, "Nice. Do you want to paint mine?" It took me 2 hours to paint it, mate. To be fair, so like that's a point. Well, I was going to say how long it would take me to paint the whole set. I think, to be honest, if I wasn't sitting chatting, I'd probably just have like a film or something on Netflix in the background, and I'd probably just crack through it. So just kind of pick out the jawline there a little bit, across the top of the lip. And I think we will call that done, folks. I need to dry brush the base a little bit with a light grey, just to pick that out. I don't know if that's dry. Actually, I think it's dry. It's that warm in here. It's drying fast. Which dry brush shall I use? I've got a slightly bigger one there. I think we'll use that one. Actually, not. We'll use. Where is it? These are my pot of brushes, folks. I'm in there messing around looking for the one I'm looking for. We'll use that smaller one, I think. Jared says, I wish I could do that in 2 hours. I painted a Space Marine captain over the last 2 days and it's average. Do you know what? I think I've kind of learned to do a few shortcuts, mate. I think that's what it is now. I think that's my difference. I've kind of found where basically I don't. I thought I'm seeing you be doing your makeup soon. I got these big, are these Daler Rowney ones? Yeah, these big Daler Rowney brushes, which are massive, and I use them for kind of dry brushing, like in comparison to like my normal paintbrush. It's just for size comparison there. I use these for dry brushing on the Kill Team terrain and stuff, and I've got like this one as well, which is great for like for putting on like lots of wash onto big pieces of terrain and stuff as well. But then I've got all of these dry brushes as well from the Artis Opus range. That's that, all of them. So I've got these dry brushes from Artis Opus as well, which are all really nice. So yeah, they do a good job. I've got like cheap like 99p makeup brushes as well. Again, this is great for bits of terrain and stuff. If it'll focus, that's great for bits of terrain and stuff as well. So yeah, it's just a bit of a mixture in it. Mixture of stuff. Alright, so we'll just come in with a light grey. Just pick up on the high spots of the sandy base. I haven't kind of gone to town on the bases on these because one, I wanted to get them done quick, and two, they're going to get covered in snow anyway, so all I'm doing here really is just lightening them up so that the snow basically doesn't dull down on them. And we'll put a little bit of white on, I think, as well, and mix that in. Just pick up on the high spots a little bit. And I think that will probably about do it. I think I'll wipe off any excess there. I'll just pick up on the weapon on the leg there a little bit, just to give it a little bit of definition. A little bit on the high spot of the beret, just to catch a bit of light there as well. And I think we'll call that. So, what do you think? There we go. You can maybe do a highlight. Oh, you know what? It's one of those jobs where you go, I could just do this, or I could just do that, or you could just keep going, couldn't you? Before you know it, you've knocked it. So I'm just going to put a little bit of white into the flesh colour that I used to highlight, and just highlight a touch further, I think, just to help it pop a little bit because the face is quite dark. Yeah, and that's how you screw it up, folks. Seeing that'll darken down once it dries. Stephen says, not sure if I caught it, Andy, but is there a plan for Saturday, Patreon, Discord, Hangout? There's no real plan made, but if people want to do it, we can just sit and chat in the Patreon Discord. if we're all sitting watching at home, kind of watching the reveals coming in, it's nice to just have a bit of banter and like, what do you think of that? And like, wow, I wasn't expecting that, and that kind of stuff. So yeah, if you fancy it, mate, we can do that. If there's just the two of us, I'll definitely be watching it anyway. So if anybody else is around and they want to hang out in the Patreon Discord, please do, please do. George is saying his brushes are shocking. I kind of take a bit of time now and again, mate, and I always make sure I clean my brushes quite well. I must admit, I do look after my brushes. I never used to years ago, and basically I ended up just having to throw them away and buy new ones. But as time's gone on, I take a bit more care of them now, I think. So, right, how we're doing for time? 22 minutes past. That's perfect. Right, so we'll call that a night for that paint job. I'll let it all dry and I'll get a better picture of it because it looks awful on camera at the minute. But I'll stick it back on the main camera while I wash my brushes. So Peter says, GW reveal Discord chat. It's a plan. See you there, sir. Yeah, it'd be nice to hang out for a bit. Catch up with you all at the weekend. And then we can see if Palmsy was right, if we're getting a painting handle. Or see if it's nothing at all to do with 9th edition. Let's see if it's something else. Where are we at? Do you know what it is, folks? It says that we've got 59 people watching when I've clicked on the page, and yet it says on my actual stream settings, it says that there's 12 people. So when I was saying it was a quiet night, I apologise if we've got more people. 59. If there's 59 people watching and we've only got 41 likes, I'd like to see that like there we go. We're just starting to see it go up. I'd like to see that like button go up a little bit. See if we can get some more. On that. So yeah, so talking about looking after my brushes, this is what I'm doing at the end of my painting session, just washing them out. In fact, what I'll do is I'll switch back to where we were painting one, and I'll just show you what I'm doing. Get that out of the way. So I've got a little pot of soap here. I got this actually with my brushes, this art of soap stuff. So yeah, let me just clear that down. So yeah, bit of water. Just swish it around in the soap. Basically and then get my tissue. Just basically wipe it off, rinse it out, rinse it again, and then a little bit of soap, and then basically just where you've got the crease in your hand there, I just kind of run it into there just to pull a point to it really, and then leave it to dry. And that's pretty much all I do, folks. But it's just nice at the nice just to kind of clean them up at the end of a session, really. Scott says, good night all, now go and spend some quality time with Mrs. BlackJack. Yeah, she's been doing some decorating, to be fair. She's been painting one of my older boys' bedroom. Seems they haven't been able to come over with the whole lockdown thing, so we've been buying a load of like decorating stuff to do their bedroom. So when I'm live streaming, she's been doing that. Tim's saying, do you use different brushes for metallics? I know you're supposed to, mate, but to be honest, I don't really, if I'm honest. I know I should. VJ says, is that Artist Opus brush soap? Yeah, it came with my brushes, mate. It came with the brushes, so that's what I use. I've got no idea whether it's any better or any worse. It's the only brush soap I've ever used, and I think when you've got expensive brushes, I think it just kind of forces you to look after them a little bit. Kieran says, burning question, red, white or rosy? I think it's actually a bottle of fizzy, mate, to be fair. I think I've got a bottle of Prosecco there. So it is white. My wife doesn't really like red wine, to be fair. She doesn't mind it in food. John says, what size brushes is she using, the 2 or a 00? I'll tell you what, mate, if she's been using the 2 or a 00, we'll need a hell of a long lockdown before that gets done. Tony's saying he uses another brush for metallics. I tell you what I find, mate, is that because I clean them quite soon afterwards, I tend not to kind of worry about switching brushes out for for metallics and things. That tends not to be a big deal. So, but I must admit, I do have a separate pot, wash pot for rinsing my brushes in when I'm doing it, to keep the metallic flakes out, so that I don't end up getting the metallic flakes into my water, if you like. And I've started, I think I showed you before, I've got these little pots and stuff that I've been using with like water and thinners in. So I use this to kind of thin my paints down. I used to just come straight out of my wash pot, but then as your wash pot gets dirty, you end up using that as well. So there's little bits of stuff that I do that I've just, like, it's probably helping my painting, not by painting any better, but just not by doing some of the bad habits that I just got used to that nobody ever told me that I shouldn't really. So, yeah. So once you've kind of cleaned that brush, once you've washed my brushes, I tend to take like a tissue and just actually just wipe it out the inside, get any bits of gunk out of there, give it a clean on the inside, and then it's ready to use again next time. So, how are we doing? Let's have a quick look in the chat before we head off. Thorlum saying synthetic for metallics as they damage the hairs. I have got some kind of cheapy, like, just brushes and stuff like that, to be fair. Steve Evans says, evening all, just finished his Zoom game of Kings of War with Andy286 for his YouTube channel. Thought I'd pop in and see what I've missed. Nice one, mate. What you missed, mate? I finished painting this fella. I'll get a picture in the Facebook group in the morning once it's all dried and stuff. In fact, I might wait until the blizzard snow comes and then you can see it all finished properly. Because until the base is done, I never think the model looks right. VGC and I have that in the Masters. They're basically the same thing. Good stuff, mate. Busey says some other unnamed YouTuber uses toothpaste. I used to use just like hand soap or like conditioner. I think that works well on proper brushes as well. VG says he actually really enjoys cleaning his brushes properly after use, especially if paint's been an epic fail. At least it feels like I got something right. I know what you mean, mate. Peter says I use brush sets that cost them $149 per set. Do you know what it is, mate? I bought a set of these brushes from Amazon just to try them, to see what they'd be like. I think there was a few more in the set as well. And let me just go to this one. So it was these ones. There's like a full set of these. And to be fair, do you know what it is? They've been all right. There was this one as well, but I've used this one like intensely, kind of like as a wash brush and stuff. And I mean, it's got a flat end on it now. It's been a dry brush. It's been a bit of everything. So that one's had a little bit of hammering. But the other ones have kind of, I think they were probably like £5 or £6 for a full set. And I thought I would just try some as a comparison. And you know what it is about, if you're quite heavy-handed, you don't look after your brushes, I would never suggest buying good brushes. Just buy cheap ones and just keep replacing them. Yeah, Luke saying the Masters brush cleaner seems the most popular. It does, mate. Everybody talks about that one. I don't know if it's just like one of the. There's another one. It's called something unicorn or something as well. That's meant to be pretty good as well. Jared Harris is saying he's got the broken toad soap this time around. It's the same as the Masters, but doesn't smell as good. And yeah, Chris, mate, how you doing? There's nothing wrong with cheap brushes. They all have their uses. Yeah, to be honest, mate, I think what tends to happen with cheap brushes is that. I think it's maybe just like they tend to be synthetic and stuff, really, but it doesn't really matter. It doesn't make nearly as much difference as you think. Yeah, you're right, VJ. It doesn't. I must admit, I did see a difference when I went from using GW brushes. I bought like a load of Rosemary & Co ones, and I did see a big jump in the quality. But that might have been the fact that my brushes were like goosed, and like I wasn't getting proper points and stuff, and I wasn't looking after them. So. Anyway, folks, yeah, bang on past. So thank you, every single one of you, for coming in tonight. I'm a bit more surprised that we had as many in as we did, because I honestly thought that we had about 12 people in tonight, and we're still sitting at like 56 or something. For some reason, it says, yeah, I've got like, it says on my thing here that I've got 12 likes, and 13 likes and 12 viewers. And then when I go across onto the main screen, it says that there's 51 likes and 56 viewers. So, yeah, whatever. Anyway, folks, thank you very much for coming in again tonight. Inherent Hobbyist says, I just joined. Thank you very much, Inherent Hobbyist. Sorry I'm dashing off now, but please feel free to go back in there and watch this back. I will definitely be back for another live stream on Monday. And what we're up to during the week, I think there should be another video coming this week. I've got one sitting on my laptop ready to ready to be edited. So if I don't get that one up, I might even crank out the Code 1 review actually, if I can get some time, maybe tomorrow or Friday, to get that written up and recorded. So anyway, enjoy the rest of your week. Those in the Discord, I'll see you in the Discord at some point, if not tonight, probably tomorrow. But we'll sort something out for Saturday for the GW reveal. So take care, folks. I'll see you all. Thanks for watching my video. I hope that you really enjoyed it. And if you did, why not consider clicking on the suggested video below to see more of the work that I've done. If you'd like to support the long-term sustainability of this channel, why not consider checking out my Patreon, where you can pledge and support from as little as $2 a month. And there is lots of different tiers and bonuses, which will give you access to a private Discord server. It will give you free t-shirts, free mugs, a podcast every month, and a number of other things, including getting your name at the end of every video, like these awesome folks who already support me now.